Welcome to Wheels Up with Sunrise on Wheels. I'm Michelle Newman. Today's program is all about art museums in some of my favorite cities. And like all Wheels Up episodes, it has 3 segments. First, I'll take you on a trip, visiting art museums in Paris, St. Petersburg, London, New York City, and Chicago. Next, we'll craft with Caroline, making some inspiring art from the artists that we've seen. Next, we'll play trivia with Ciera. I hope you'll play along. The act of painting is an ancient medium, dating as far back as 40,000 years ago, when early humans applied ochre and charcoal to cave walls. Art predates the written word by 35,000 years or more, and there is so much stunning and beautiful art to be seen. Today I'd like to take you on a trip exploring fabulous art in a few of my favorite cities. We'll begin in Paris. Nicknamed the City of Light, this enchanting capital of France is filled with many monuments, from the iconic Eiffel Tower to the lofty Notre Dame Cathedral and majestic Arc de Triomphe. Today I want to take you into the largest museum in the world and the world's most popular, the Louvre. Located in central Paris, it was originally built as a fortress in the 12th century, and it holds an immense 380,000 works of art. Maybe you recognize it from Beyoncé's music video. Before we even enter, we start at the pyramid, created by famed Chinese-American architect I.M. Pei. The giant modernist steel and glass pyramid has the exact same proportions as the Great Pyramid of Giza. When it was completed, it seemed half of Paris was up in arms about it. Today, many love it, but others hate it. What do you think? This old marble statue is one of the oldest and most influential statues in the world. Only a fraction of the original Greek statues have survived to the present day, and the winged victory of Samothrace is perhaps the best of the bunch. Although we don't know the sculptor, the technical mastery of the work, as well as the way it imagines elements around it, like wind ruffling the victory's dress, make this 2,200-year-old lady quite amazing. No arms? No problem. The Venus de Milo is one of the most famous classical depictions of female beauty. Its age, beauty, and iconic missing arms have all combined to make it one of the most enduring representations of classical female beauty. Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa is probably the most famous portrait in the world. While it's not the most beautiful, or even the most awe-inspiring, it has, more than perhaps any other work in the world, a rare combination of technical mastery and new artistic techniques. Da Vinci was famous even in his own day as a genius, but only a handful of his paintings survive. He painted the Mona Lisa with a technique called sfumato, in which he layered coats of semi-transparent paint washes one on top of another to create a sense of 3 dimensions using light and dark. Do you think she's happy? Sad? Perplexed? We're all left to wonder and debate. Before leaving Paris, we must make a quick stop in the magnificent Musée d'Orsay. Originally built as a train station for the Universal Exhibition of 1900, it's filled with famous French Impressionists, a style of painting that focuses on the effects of light and atmosphere on colors and forms. These artists use broken brushstrokes and many colors to paint scenes of everyday life. Here we can gaze upon amazing works by Claude Monet, who focused on landscapes and nature. Edgar Degas, who painted many beautiful dancers and outside cafe scenes. And what do you think of this famous Renoir? It's entitled Dance at Le Moulin de la Galette. Isn't it filled with vibrant colors? Next, let's head to St. Petersburg, Russia. This stunning port city, once called Leningrad, is positioned right on the Baltic Sea, not far from the Arctic Circle. It was the imperial capital for 2 centuries and still remains the cultural center of Russia. The ideal time to visit is from mid-May to mid-July, when the city emerges from long months of cold and darkness and has almost 20 hours of sunlight. It's truly magical. Today, let's visit the second largest art museum in the world, the State Hermitage Museum, consisting of 6 buildings along the Neva River, with the Winter Palace as the crowning turquoise, white, and gold jewel. Majestically, this building is a museum all on its own, and the interior is just as fabulous as the art that resides inside. We first go up the Jordan staircase and squeeze through the tiny narrow doorway at the top, where we enter Field Marshal's Hall. Look, there's Peter the Great's coronation carriage. Next, let's take a look at the Malachite Room, a vast sweeping room caked in gold and embellished with crimson curtains and green stone columns. These homey rooms recreate the Romanov palace life. What do you think? Could you imagine living here?
Finally, let's look at the peacock clock. Over 200 years old, on certain days, the clock springs into life, delighting visitors with an owl, peacock, and a rooster. It is quite a sight.
Next, we're off to London, England, one of the most famous cities in the world and the capital of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Its history goes back to the Middle Ages. I love to walk the narrow streets, watch the boats on the River Thames, take a ride on the London Eye, and admire the changing of the guard before Buckingham Palace. London is home to many dazzling museums, but today I want to show you a few of the amazing things in the British Museum. This lonely Moai statue is located in the Welcome Gallery at the museum, but was originally from the ceremonial village of Orongo on Easter Island. The exact age is unknown, but it's widely believed to have been built between 1000 and 1600 and was removed from the island by British explorers in 1868. Sculpted in basalt, the statue is a typical Eastern Island stone moai, carved with a prominent nose, brow and chin, long ears, and its hands touching its protruding stomach. There's a ritual belt on its back. Body is covered with petroglyphs, added after the statue was made. The Rosetta Stone is the museum's most popular exhibit, famous for being the key to reading the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. It contains 3 different scripts, so scholars were able to use it as a key to decipher the ancient language. Next, let's step back in time to ancient Greece in the 400s BC, where we can see the walls of the Parthenon, a temple to goddess Athena, which was built on the top of a hill called the Acropolis in Greece. These amazing marble statues were carved into the walls. These astonishing gods, centaurs, and horses were depicted in the marble walls surrounding the temple. Can you believe these are more than 2,500 years old? The temple was largely destroyed back in 1687 during a war between Venice and the Ottoman Empire, and in early 1800s, these marbles were brought by Lord Elgin from Greece to England. Greece would like them returned. Next, we're off to New York, New York. It's a wonderful town. So much to see and do here. It has its own Wheels Up episode. But today I want to take you into New York City's Museum of Modern Art, known as MoMA, one of the largest and most important museums for modern and contemporary art in the world. The water lilies of Monet are quite breathtaking. Large in scope, these 3 mural-sized panels place us just right in the face of those water lilies, and the surface of the water reflects the clouds from above. Isn't it amazing? And what do you think of this one? Starry Night, an abstract landscape painting of an expressive night sky over a small hillside village. It is one of the Dutch artist Vincent van Gogh's most celebrated works, and here we see intense, turbulent, vibrant night skies. The stars are radiating rings of light. What do you think of it? Jasper John is an American painter, sculptor, and printmaker. His work is worth a lot of money. One sold for $110 million. His collage and paintings of American flags are some of his most famous works. Look at this one. It's not like a regular flag. It's solid, not sewn, and its surface is smeared with paint and wax. Underneath are strips of newspaper. Do you think it's disrespectful, or does it just add some meaning? Have you ever heard of Andy Warhol? He makes us question, what is art? He was a pop artist And he was inspired by the world around him, famous people, movies, music, and even product packages. Warhol was very ill as a child, so he spent lots of time in bed, and to cheer himself up, he read comics and magazines about his favorite characters and movie stars. One of his most famous subjects is an old Hollywood actress, Marilyn Monroe. In this picture, Gold Marilyn Monroe, Warhol painted a large canvas a shiny gold color. In the center of the canvas in latex, he silkscreened a black and white photograph of Monroe. He painted her face, hair, and blouse. The paintings hung so that Marilyn sits alone in a sea of gold, at eye level with the viewer. It's a portrait both intimate and isolating. Next, we're off to our last and final stop. Chicago, the Windy City as it is often called, lies along the shores of Lake Michigan. It's known for its amazing architecture, expansive sporting scene from football's Chicago Bears to baseball's White Sox and Cubs, to basketball's famous Chicago Bulls, and it even has beautiful beaches. Today, let's take a magical journey through the Art Institute of Chicago, with 300,000 works of art spread out over nearly 1 million square feet. We only have time to look at my top 5. Here is one of the most famous American paintings of all time. It's called American Gothic. In the height of the Great Depression, American artist Grant Wood asked his sister and dentist to dress up for this painting, and he won a $300 prize in 1930. What do you think they're thinking? Are they happy, desperate, discouraged, or simply resigned? Have you ever heard the word blue describing being sad? In his blue period, famous Spanish artist Pablo Picasso painted sad subjects in tones of blue. This one's called The Old Guitarist. What do you think of this gaunt old man? Do you notice the one thing that's not blue? I think maybe his guitar is his one bright spot. Next is a painting by Edward Hopper, and it's called Nighthawk. The painting is so clean, smooth, and almost too real. It almost looks like a photograph to me. What do you think is the story of these 3 customers? Georgia O'Keeffe is a famous American artist, best known for her paintings of flowers and desert landscapes. This monumental sky above clouds was painted in the summer of 1965 after an airplane trip. Do the white shapes remind you of anything? In the depths of the museum is a carpeted room with windows into 68 gorgeously decorated rooms, each built to the scale of 1 inch equals 1 foot, so everything is very little. The Thorne miniature rooms were a project Narcissa Thorne, who as a child loved dolls and dollhouses, and as an adult she traveled extensively through Europe and made it a hobby to collect miniature furniture and accessories. These realistic little rooms provide beautiful examples of painstaking craftsmanship, of architecture and interior design from Europe and American history from the late 13th century all the way through the 1940s. What do you think? Aren't these fabulous? Well, it's time for our trip exploring beautiful art in a few of my favorite cities to come to an end. What do you think? Do you have a favorite artist or maybe a favorite piece of art? I look forward to seeing you next time. Well, that was fun. Let's go create some inspiring art with Caroline.
My name is Caroline, and I'm so excited to do arts and crafts with you today. Today's video was all about different museums around the world, so today we're going to do 3 different crafts based off of artists you saw in the video. First, we're going to make a painting using pointillism that was used a lot by George Seuratt. Then we're going to make a flower craft based off of Georgia O'Keeffe, and then we're going to make a craft based off of P.A. Mondrian's modern art. First, we are going to make a painting using pointillism. And so I have a bunch of different colors of paint, some Q-tips, and a paint stick. I'm going to make a tree, but you can make anything you want, and you can even make your whole painting just using the Q-tips. And you can use anything round, they don't have to be Q-tips. I'm gonna use my finger a little bit, and you can also use crayons or markers or anything you want to color. You don't have to use a paint stick. So first I'm going to make my tree trunks with my brown paint stick. So I'm going to draw one line going up and another one right next to it, like this. And I'm going to make 2 trees, but you can make as many as you want. You can make 1, you can make 2, you can make as many as you want, like this. And now I'm going to color the trunks in. And you don't have to use a paint stick. You can use marker or crayon, or you can even use your paint for this part too if you want. Okay, so now it looks like this. And I'm now going to add the leaves on my tree. So I'm going to use my Q-tips, and you can even use 2 at a time and put them into 2 different colors. First I'm going to go into red and orange, and I'm going to dot all around on the top of my paper, and I'm going to put them kind of close together so that it starts to look like leaves. And now I'm going to start to use my finger a little bit. You don't have to use your finger, but I think it looks cool because then you have all different size dots. And I'm using all different colors so that I have a really colorful tree. Now I'm going to start to work on my other tree. And you can also draw some grass if you want, or some birds in the sky, or anything you want. You can add a sun. You can add anything you want to make your painting look really good. So now I'm doing my other tree, and I'm adding a lot of different colors so that it looks really colorful, but you can add whatever colors you want. And in George Seuratt's paintings, a lot of the times he makes his painting out of all little tiny dots, and you have to search really hard to even figure out that he made it out of dots, and it looks really cool. So you can do that too. You can use all dots on your painting. You don't have to use anything else. You could use only paint if you want. Okay, I think I'm done. This is what mine looks like. And you can make whatever you want. So now we are going to make a flower craft that is inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe. So what you will need is a paper plate, a pipe cleaner, some scissors, black paper, and some paint. I'm making my flower orange, but you can make it any color you want. And also, if you don't have a paper plate, you can also use a piece of paper. So now I'm going to cut this circle around my plate, and it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're using paper, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but I'm just going to cut around this circle in the center of the plate, and that's going to be my flower. Georgia O'Keeffe makes a lot of different flower art, so you can look it up and you can see all the really pretty flower art she makes. So now I have my circle, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut. I'm going to fold my paper in half and cut a little piece like this. And then I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and fold it in half, and I'm going to put through the hole, I'm going to put the 2 sides. So not the folded side, but the 2 sides I'm going to put into the hole. And then I'm going to fold this part. I'm going to just fold it up like that. And now I'm going to cut 2 circles out of my black paper, and I'm going to make them pretty small because I just want it to be the center of my flower. And one is going to be smaller than the other. So this is going to be my big circle. Now I'm going to make one a little bit smaller, like this. And now I'm going to cut a little slit inside of these circles. So I'm going to fold it and cut a little bit, just like a little cut, so that I can get the pipe cleaner through. And make sure that your smaller circle is on top. And I'm going to put these through my pipe cleaner. So my bottom one is going to go first. And then the smaller one. And now I'm going to fold my pipe cleaner down because in the middle of the flower, there's a little black center. And now I'm going to crinkle up my piece in the middle. And then on the one on the outside, I'm going to cut some fringe so that it looks more 3D. Just like that. And now I'm going to paint my flower, and I'm going to pick up the black so that I don't get my paint on there. And I'm making my flower orange, but you can make it any color you want. And I'm going to paint some strokes that it looks more like the petals of the flower. Just like this, I'm going all the way around. Just like this. And the last craft we're going to make is inspired by P.A. Mondrian, who makes modern art. So what you will need is a white piece of paper, a black marker, and some crayons. And he uses a lot of black, red, yellow, and blue. So those are the colored crayons that I'm using. And you also need scissors. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a heart using my black marker. But you can make any shape you want, or you can even use a full piece of paper and make a whole big art piece. So first I'm going to take my black marker and draw a heart on my paper, like this. And now I'm going to carefully cut around my black marker because in a lot of P.A. Mondrian's paintings, he uses black as the outline. So I'm making sure not to cut on the black and to leave it as my outline. So now that I have my heart, I'm going to start to draw some lines to make different shapes that I'm going to color in. So I'm going to draw some triangles and some squares, and they're all really defined sharp lines because that's how he draws them in his paintings, because his paintings are very modern. So now this is what my heart looks like, and I'm going to start to color in all of my different spots in the different colors that I have, and I'm going to leave one spot open so that it stays white. So this is what my finished heart looks like, and as you can see, I pressed pretty hard with the crayons because his colors were always pretty dark and he used all primary colors. He didn't use any pastels. I hope you had fun making these crafts inspired by artists from museums around the world. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Thanks, Caroline. Next, let's play Trivia with Ciera.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ciera, or Cece for short. Welcome to the trivia portion of Wheels Up. I am so excited to play trivia with you today. We are in for some fun with 10 questions to puzzle your puzzler. We have 4 answers and only 1 that's correct. Can you figure it out? Well, are you ready? Let's play! Welcome to Art Museum's Trivia. Question number 1. Where can the first paintings in the world be found? A. In a museum in London. B. in caves? C, in the oldest book in the world? Or D, in the Great Pyramids of Egypt? If you guessed caves, you were right. B is the right answer. Great job. Question number 2. Where is the famous Louvre Museum located? Is it in A, Berlin, B, London, C, New York City, or D, Paris? The famous Louvre Museum. The City of Love, Paris. You are correct. Question number 3. What is the most famous feature of the Venus de Milo? A, her long hair that stops at her feet. B, the beautiful dress she wears that looks like it's in motion. C, her missing arms. Or D, her missing legs. Bada bing, bada bang, her missing arms. Great job. Question number 4. What are some key traits of Impressionist art? A, it focuses on the effects of light and atmosphere. B, it uses broken brushstrokes as opposed to smooth ones. C, it uses many vibrant colors. Or D, all of the above. Impressionist art. Made such a good impression, it needs all answers. Great job if you guessed D. Question number 5. What is the Winter Palace in Russia used for today? A, it's part of the State Hermitage Museum. B, an infamous opera house. C, a gathering place for trading goods. Or D, the current home of Russian emperors. The Winter Palace is part of the State Hermitage Museum. Go visit it next time you're in Russia. Question 6. What birds are represented on the Russian peacock clock? A, a chicken, a rooster, and a duck. B, an owl, a hawk, and an eagle. C, a peacock, a rooster, and an owl. Or D, all 3 birds are peacocks. A peacock, a rooster, and an owl? That's what's on the Russian peacock clock. Great job. Question 7. Why is the Rosetta Stone so famous? A, it tells us how the Egyptians built the pyramids. B, it allows us to decipher ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. C, it tells the first recorded fable of ancient Greece. Or D, it's covered in rubies that look like a bouquet of roses. The Rosetta Stone allows us to decipher ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, the writing of the ancient Egyptians. Question number 8. Who painted the Starry Night landscape? Was it A, Jasper Johns, B, Pablo Picasso, C, Claude Monet, or D, Vincent van Gogh? The Starry Night was painted by Vincent van Gogh. Answer D. Question number 9. In what city is the second largest art museum in the United States located? Is it in A, Chicago, B, New York, C, Washington, D.C., or D, Los Angeles? I'll give you a hint. It's the Windy City. You guessed it, Chicago. And our final question, question number 10. Who painted the monumental Sky Above Clouds? Was that A, Michelangelo, B, Leonardo da Vinci, C, Salvador Dali, or D, Georgia O'Keeffe? The Sky Above Clouds. You guessed it! Answer D. Great job! Wow, you did such a good job! Thank you for playing trivia with me today. I look forward to playing with you again soon. Bye!
Thanks, Ciera, and thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to watch more Wheels Up episodes, you can find us on YouTube at Sunrise Association. Wheels Up has its own playlist. Or download our app at Sunrise Studios. I look forward to seeing you next time.